Mr. Hambright.
Judge Underwood, I understand that Arnold Schwarzenegger in California released 7,000 penitentiary inmates into the public, let them go completely because they couldn't afford them. Do you ever see that trend heading this way?
Back a few years ago, Texas had a prison building frenzy, and we just built penitentiaries out the wazoo. And now those penitentiaries are filling up again. It's not quite the revolving door that we had back then. If we, as a judge, sent someone to the penitentiary, we knew someone was going to get released. So we had to decide, is this person the one that needs to be in the penitentiary, or is the one that's there now the one that needs to be in the penitentiary? Now, we don't know specifically who they're going to release because that's the Board of Pardons and Parole, but that thought goes through your head. And if I send this person down, who are they going to let out? Now, that was several years ago. It has improved since then, up until the last year or two, and now it's getting bad again. They're getting full again. I hope things aren't as bad as they are in California. The good news is Texas is so much more fiscally responsible than California. Thank God.
Yes.
We do things differently than California. So I think you can blame most of it on that. And I think Texas is in much better shape fiscally than California. Much better.
Judge Underwood, I have a question I'd like to ask you one. 1,385 Californians are coming here, I think, per week to Texas, so that's great. It may change. Secondly, you said you make a decision when you choose to send somebody to the penitentiary on letting somebody out. Could this person be worse than the one letting out? Should it not be this person deserves to go there or not, versus thinking of someone's going to be let out? Because that's not your job there. It's the parole board.
I intended to convey that it's in the back of your mind when you're thinking about it, because you know if you send them down there, someone's going to get out. You've already made up your mind. They're on the way. They're going. If you've decided that they're going to the penitentiary, they're going regardless. You still think, however, who are they going to release? No, you don't second guess if someone needs to be in the penitentiary or not at that point. Once you've decided they're going to the penitentiary, they're going. And I've sent a bunch of people to the penitentiary for many, many, many years. They deserve to be.
Would you like to respond to that, Jennifer?
You know, one of the things, and I've always served Lubbock County and citizens Lubbock County, accountability is huge. What I love about the law is it's black and white. There is accountability. And you need to have accountability in our criminal justice system. You can't think, well, I need to let this person out of jail because it's overcrowded, because you just endangered our community. I don't know if anybody's watched KCBD's Most Wanted. Probably seen that on there. You see people rotating back and forth from jail. They commit a felony, they get a bond. They commit a felony, they get a bond. Continually preying on our community. Yes, we all have rights and we are entitled to bonds, and that's correct. But you need courts who are looking at these cases going, look, it's revolving, and we're just endangering people. Parole, it's coming down. I agree with my opponent, and that's what worried me. I started practicing in '92 when they paroled in absentia out of this jail in Lubbock County. Didn't even go to Huntsville. And what concerns me is we're coming back to that we'll see 10% served on sentences for drug cases. And what's unfortunate about that is drug cases many times are your bedrock for your other cases. They're the stepping stone or involved in that. Gang problems are the same way. Drugs are involved with Aryan Brotherhood here in our community. If you don't think they are, you're incorrect. And we need someone who's in touch, who's been working with law enforcement, witnesses and victims and community leaders and community citizens, and knows those dangers right now and holds people accountable. That's what a court does, according to the law, but you hold them accountable if that's what we need to do.
Chris, you had a question?
Yeah, just kind of talking on what you guys were both saying. What can we do about, I mean, obviously, I'm not the only young people in here, but it bothers me that we're sending so many people to the penitentiary all the time. What can we do to stop it at my age, you know, younger than me? What are we doing, and what can y'all's court, you know, what are you guys doing to stop that and prevent it from having to go to Huntsville, from stopping here and stopping the cycle?
That's a good question, and I like that question. Let me tell you, as a mother of a 23-year-old, your perspective changed. You have adult children. They're not really children anymore. They're adults. People are going to make mistakes. That's how it is in life. And I think one of the best things that we can do is provide opportunities to correct those mistakes. But here's how it happens. Many times we have people in our society, and I see them all the time, as victims and defendants. They didn't have a good family life. Okay? We just have that. That is just true. They didn't grow up with a good foundation or good faith. Nobody held them accountable at any point in their life. And we have a huge segment of our population that you're talking about right now. So the first time they hit the court, let's hold them accountable. Doesn't mean a prison system. It depends on the facts of the case. You're right. But somebody's got to be standing there saying, I'm going to hold you accountable. And when you mess up, here I stand. And yes, you're going to have to learn accountability at this age, but you need to learn it so you can live your life and we can have you good in our society. But when the courts don't watch those cases like someone on probation, that's where the problem begins. Then they're like, hey, hold me accountable anyway. So there's the revolving door that starts. I agree, prison is not always the answer. Every case is different, but accountability is the answer. We got a lot of programs, which is great. We do. Young offenders, we actually have a lot of programs. Intensive supervision, it's all about accountability. I mean, think about what I'm saying. It's just someone standing there going, you've never been held accountable. We're going to have somebody hold you accountable. I think it's huge. We could affect so much of our population if we take a close look at these cases, make good decisions, and hold them accountable. And when they mess up, got to be accountability right then, not a year or 6 months later.
Travis, after respond.
Sure would. One of the things that I have done personally is participate in our specialty courts. One of the things that we created was called a drug court. Drug court is exactly what my opponent is describing. It is a super intensive probation program, except they're not really on probation. Instead of meeting once a month with their probation officer, they meet weekly with a whole bunch of folks. They meet with a case manager who's in the probation office. They meet with a treatment provider who is trying to help them with their addiction. They meet with a prosecutor, they meet with a defense attorney. More important, most important, weekly, they meet face-to-face with the judge. And I presided over our drug court for a year before I turned it over to Judge Reyes. And he is now the president of the Texas Drug Court Professionals Association. Just doing great guns with the program. It's specifically designed for youthful offenders to try to change their thought processes, to try to keep them out of this revolving system that we have, that we know we have. We know they have bad backgrounds. We know that their peers are using drugs. But if we do hold them accountable, and if we personally get involved and hold them personally accountable with up to 16 meetings per week with authority figures, including one being the judge, and not only the judge, but the peers in the group. You got to come up to the judge, you got to tell the judge what you did that week, whether it's good or bad. If it's good, good things happen. If it's bad, bad things happen. Any infraction such as a relapse, if you got an alcohol problem and you use alcohol, you go to jail. It's not 6 months later, it's that week. If you got a cocaine problem and you use cocaine, you go to jail. You don't go forever. We bring you back out. We put you in a different kind of class. We put you in a treatment program. We try to get you the help that you need to change your life. And it's successful. It is a major success story. Do some research on drug courts. It's one of the bright spots in the criminal justice system today. And I personally believe in it. I personally participated in it. I presided over drug court this past Thursday evening. It was a wonderful experience.
Does anyone else have a question?